What is going on, my crazy 76er fanatics, guys? Thanks for stopping back in for another daily pod with your daily 76ers discourse and discussion. I want to thank all you guys who stop in, who are dropping, who are liking, who are commenting. Thank you so much for helping us climb that subscription ladder. Each view, each comment, each watch, all of you guys matter. So thanks for helping us continue this conversation and helping this channel grow. But we got to talk about the most pressing news in Philadelphia, guys. Today is the day that Quentin Grimes and his management have made. I will rejoice regardless of what happens today because Quentin Grimes is going to resign with the Philadelphia 76ers in some way, some shape, some form, and some fashion, guys. Either Quentin Grimes lets the deadline go, and at 11:59 p.m. tonight, if 12 a.m. strikes for tomorrow, Quentin Grimes will be stuck under that restricted qualifying offer that he's forced to resign, which would be like $8.7 million, almost $9. Or Quentin Grimes and the Sixers can come to terms on a long-term deal. Or Quentin Grimes and the Sixers can find a sign and a trade partner so he can go to a place where maybe he's getting the money he wants or maybe he's playing in a city that he prefers. Here's what's more likely, guys. Based off how the contract conversations have been going, the Sixers and Quentin Grimes are miles apart. And with the way the market has been unchurning, Quentin Grimes wants to be paid like his peers, like the Josh Giddeys, like the Jonathan Kumingas. Those guys signed for about $30 million, $23 to $24 million a year, and that's exactly what Quentin Grimes is looking for. His argument is that he's just as good, just as young, with maybe even a higher ceiling than a Josh Giddey, than potentially a Jonathan Kuminga. The problem is, though, the market isn't saying that for Quentin Grimes, and the Sixers have no reason to overbid or outbid themselves when he doesn't have any offers coming from anywhere else. Truth be made, though, in Quentin Grimes' defense, players have gotten paid off of similar performances. Players have gotten paid off of similar occurrences. Remember the Jeremy Linsanity stretch and run, where Linsanity was one of the best players for the New York Knicks? Arguably, Quentin Grimes had the same impact, but it just didn't transfer to winning in the way that Jeremy Lin's did. Plus, he just didn't have the social impact that the Linsanity run did as well. So his contractual agreement probably shouldn't be aligned the same way Lin's was at that time. But I will say one thing. Quentin Grimes, who will, regardless of if he decides to sign a long-term contract or if he decides to not sign anything and be placed under the qualifying offer of $9 million for one season and one season only, this is his fault. This is, everyone knows restricted free agency is brutal. And everybody knows restricted free agency. As a restricted free agent, your power, your control, it's literally in the title, guys. It's restricted. It's limited. And Quentin Grimes wasted a lot of time basically pretending or maybe trying to negotiate that he did have more power than realistically he had. Because the longer you wait as a restricted free agent, the less offers there are, the more the money dries up, and the more power you are giving to your team. To wait till the very end date, the deadline, which is today, and to have his manager and his management potentially ask for an extension on the qualifying offer is blasphemous. For me, and to many people in the industry, guys, that is malpractice from any agent to ask the team to extend the restricted qualifying deadline. Deadline pushes have happened before. You saw Fred VanVleet and the Houston Rockets push their deadline back, but to push back the restricted qualifying deadline, and you're only 1 month away from the season. Daryl Morey, Nick Nurse, the Sixers front office, they had no reason to agree to it. And for Quentin Grimes to not agree to the earlier offers, or for Quentin Grimes not to be aggressive in negotiating early on in free agency, this was clearly his first rodeo. This was clearly his first rodeo as a sought-after free agent, as a free agent who potentially had some power, potentially had some leverage and negotiating and bargaining power. But realistically, guys, that is all gone. That is all dissipated. We are legitimately a few hours away from deciding if Quentin Grimes resigns a qualifying offer or if they can agree to a long-term contract. And again, reports are that a long-term contract is extremely unlikely because he wants the 25 to 22. to above $20 million that his peers are getting, and the Sixers have no reason to match or meet that offer, which is good news and bad news for both parties. Good news for the Sixers, if Quentin Grimes does re-sign that qualifying offer, which may be his only option at this point, the Sixers are like $9 million under the first apron, like $21 million under the second apron, and still have a few tax dollars to play with. They have more power, more leverage to make this year the best year under a Daryl Morey, under a Nick Nurse-led regime. And more importantly, guys, Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse, both of those guys, both of those front office heads, potentially could be losing their heads in this front office because they could be getting fired. Last season, fire Daryl Morey was one of the hottest trends on Twitter. Fire Nick Nurse was a conversation that many fans and potentially the front office were also maybe entertaining. If Quentin Grimes re-signs a qualifying offer, you give two guys who right now could potentially be powerless in their positions more power to make this year look better on their resume. There's no reason for Daryl Morey to give Quentin Grimes what he needs because Daryl Morey's job is also in jeopardy. So signing Quentin Grimes to an over-valued contract, over-negotiating more than he has to, is, again, malpractice from the GM this time. And again, for Nick Nurse, he just wants more talent, better players, with more potential free agency and acquisition leverage later in the season. Quentin Grimes is playing right into the Sixers' hands. Right into the Sixers' hands. And speaking on hands, guys, any updates on Jared McCain? Well, the updates is Jared McCain just went under the knife, just went under the needle, and that he did have surgery on his right thumb, on his right UCL. The Sixers went on to post that Jared McCain will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. And if you check your timetables, guys, the season is going to be commencing and underway in about 3 to 4 weeks, somewhere around that time. So Jared McCain, based off of the email and the post the Sixers made, he's going to be expected to miss about at least the first 4 games, which is Boston, which is Charlotte, which is a few more opponents. And then, of course, you're going to have Jared McCain doing that ramp-up period, trying to get into basketball shape, trying to make sure he gets that shot right and his thumb is able to put up shots and play through contact. You can expect Jared McCain to miss a few weeks into the season. I expect Jared McCain to be back around the November 15th time, no later than December 2nd, because if he's going to be reevaluated 4 weeks, hopefully that's when his recovery process and physical therapy process is done. And then, by then, guys, Jared McCain should be ramping up for a 2-week ramp-up period. You can expect Jared McCain back on this court, back with his team around November 15th, no later than December 2nd. These are just speculations, guys. These are, again, just speculations. And if Jared McCain is out for an entire month when the season starts, that can be great for Quentin Grimes to secure his spot and secure his time and his minutes on this team. But without being part of training camp, without being part of the onboarding process this team is already going through, Quentin Grimes is playing into this front office hands of being a beggar, potentially doing whatever they ask. And doing whatever the team asks is your job as a backup center. Who will be the Sixers' backup center? That is a huge conversation. And apparently to Nick Nurse, that is a huge competition that he is looking forward to. Sixers head coach Nick Nurse speaks on the backup center position. He says, I expect it to be a great competition for that spot. I just really want to see it all play out and just watch them kind of fight it out in the next month or so. We're going to figure out who's going to be this team's backup center. And I think for the first time, this team has a plethora of options. Andre Drummond's on this squad. Adem Bona year 2's on this squad. Johnny Brome year 1, second-round pick, but one of the most experienced and one of the best defensive players from the SEC is now on this team. The backup center position, the backup big position, may be more shored up than it ever has been before for Philadelphia. And if you're asking one of the backup bigs, he sees the depth. Andre Drummond went on to speak about Adem Bona's growth in his year 2, and Andre Drummond went on to say that Bona looks great. Obviously, he had time to play at game speed with Turkey in the Eurobasket League, but he looks amazing. He's a lot stronger, he's faster, and apparently, he's jumping 2 inches higher than he did last year. Adem Bona, who is an athletic freak, an athletic specimen, and truthfully, one of the best physical players this team had, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. If Adem Bona is getting more physically inept, more physical experience, and better athletically, He was already going into the season being the best athletic player this team had, the most athletic, the most hustle, the most force, and the most physicality. If he's only adding layers to his gameplay, I think that backup center position could be and should be odd dim bonus for the taking. For the taking. Not to mention he's playing more comfortable. He's communicating more. He's more defensively sound. And Andre Drummond isn't the only one to acknowledge the development of Adem Bona. Nick Nurse has acknowledged it. Tyrese Maxey has acknowledged it. Adem Bona himself has acknowledged his growth and how his confidence has grown, guys. So that backup center position, we're going to find out who it's going to go to, and especially tomorrow when this team does play in their first preseason game internationally in Abu Dhabi against those Knicks. I want to see how Adem Bona performs. That's what we're looking for. How does Adem Bona perform, guys? Speaking of perform, guys, did you like? Did you comment? And did you subscribe, guys? Make sure you like, you comment, you leave a comment or two. Ladies and gentlemen, we read more than a few. We read all of your comments, so no comment is left behind, and no comment doesn't matter, guys. Thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, and most importantly, thank you for commenting the entire way all day. I do want to acknowledge this squad, and one of these comments I saw recently on the channel. Hey, shout out Robo47 for out there. She's saying loves the channel, loves the content, and loves the conversation. All right, let's get to some of these. I am Dak Dud. Next year, I will be 50, and guess what? I was born in 1976, so now I'm a Sixers new fan. If you were born in 1976, next year you turn 50. Hopefully the Sixers get their very first championship in over 40 years. Hopefully the Sixers squad gets a championship that we can talk about, that we can rejoice on. And if it's your first year as a Sixers fan, maybe you're the good luck charm this team needs. Kevin Holland says, if Grimes plays for himself and not the team, it would show. Nurse would definitely bench him. I think Grimes playing for himself would be playing into the team's hand, which would be being a team player and a team man. Sharing the ball, being defensively inept, taking the shots that are given to you, not the shots that you create. I can only see Grimes being perfect for the squad because if he has to re-sign a qualifying offer, he has to guarantee himself minutes, and that means he has to be a team player. That means he has to do what coach is asking for. Hopefully he's not thinking too much out there. You want him to play freely. You want him to be himself. That's the only problem, is that Grimes may be too in his head, making too many mistakes, or trying to play for a contract that he should have already negotiated once the season ended. The problem with Grimes is that playing on a qualifying offer, he may play for himself and not the team. Tyrone Smith, another one's concerned that Grimes will play for himself. Guys, when a player signs a qualifying offer, there's no guarantee that he's going to play. We could legitimately bench Quentin Grimes with the depth of the shooting guard position, with Maxey, with McCain, with VJ Edgecombe, with maybe Imani Bates. Quentin Grimes could be riding pine all season long if he doesn't play with the team in mind. I don't see Quentin Grimes not being a team player, especially the way he negotiated this contract. It is very, very, very important for him to secure himself 30 minutes a game so that he can secure himself potentially $20 million a year next year during the negotiating period. Guys, like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to be talking about Grimes because he's got to resign today or tomorrow. We're going to be talking about McCain. We're going to talk about Maxey. We're going to talk about all your favorite players. But thanks for keeping the conversation going. Thanks for helping this channel keep growing. And come back tomorrow.